Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I will be continuing my series on Lilith through the signs with Lilith in Taurus or Lilith in the second house. And so Lilith in mythology has to do with um, your sexual nature, rebelling, wanting to be liberated, wanting freedom. It could be manipulation, shame, and repressed and underrepresented. It's where you want to be seen, heard, recognized, and loved. And so the story of Lilith is really about um, she is the first wife of Adam, and Adam and Lilith were made equal. They were made from the same thing, they had the same amount of skills and independence. And after a while, Adam wanted to dominate Lilith. He always wanted her Lilith laying on her back and didn't really let her get on top. Um, and really just kind of wanted to tell her what to do, right? And so Lilith rebelled by leaving the Garden of Eden, or some say she was kicked out because she wasn't submissive to Adam, um, to start her journey of revenge, um, from feeling repressed, from being in a repressed relationship with Adam. And so she rebelled against her sexual desires, meaning she slept with demons and went on a killing spree. And it really is a explanation of her lower expressions of herself, right? And so Lilith in your chart will definitely represent the lower expressions of the things that you're ashamed of, hide from, um, or the areas of life where you feel repressed in some way. And Taurus is ruled by Venus. It lives in the second house. It rules material possessions, money, the money you make, the money you earn, savings, budgeting, investments, your self-worth, your values, um, any kind of large item, possession, art, beauty, um, your creative endeavors. Um, yeah, I feel like I could say more, but I feel like well, I do want to say more actually. I feel like it's also your sensuality, your five senses, your pleasure, the desires that you have, or the things that you're obsessed with, um, or like the things that you crave. Um, yeah. And so these people tend to crave the things that they desire when it comes to their five senses, like feeling, smelling, sensing, taste, um, and sex, right? Um, these people have a strong desire for food, like perfumes or scents or scented oils. They could be very romantic, um, or just know how to cater. to feminine needs, guy or girl, so this might be for a woman, somebody who genuinely enjoys self-care or having specific kind of oils or lotions with scents to them. They're really big into scents. They might be really good at smelling things or figuring out the smells of things or what particular um, spices and herbs or flowers and things that are used in particular smells and things of that nature. Um, in fashion, um, you can be attracted to things that look good, smell good. These people can be obsessed with luxury, money, clothes, comfort, food, or you have fears of never having money. So you never buy clothes. You don't see the point. You hold on to money or you're a hoarder. On the opposite end of this, you can be greed, where you feel like you don't have enough and you have to consume a lot of things to continue feeling a void, of emptiness, of lack of self-worth, lack of values, like who you are, like being not knowing how to be yourself or feeling like you need things for other people to see you, acknowledge you, recognize you for who you are. And so these people can buy love, buy affection. um on the opposite end of that, I feel like these people are for particularly men, they'll buy sex, they'll buy women, they'll buy gifts, um, as a show of their affection or love, or prostitution. Like, I really, really think that Taurus men are the pimps in the zodiac, right? And not, I mean, when I think about a pimp, I think about somebody who dresses to a T and knows exactly what women want and how to draw them in, how to treat them, how to manage them. Um, and they understand money, they understand commodity, they understand an investment, and so and so I feel like these on the darker side of this definitely could be a pimp. I think of Papa was a rolling stone, the caddy, that whole idealism of what an actual pimp looks like. I feel like if it was a zodiac sign, it would be a Taurus, right? They know how to keep women in check. They're not afraid to do that. They can be very bossy and possessive, controlling, and don't mind telling people what to do in that sense. As bad as that might sound, this is management. They understand the management of money, understand the management of beauty, they understand the management of things that are ruled by Taurus, right? And so I feel like these you can have some of these kinds of traits whether you're a pimp or not. You just understand um the value in materialism, right? Because there is a value to it, there is a strategy to it, and if anybody knows or understands it more than anybody, it's a Taurus, right? And so um on the opposite side of that, again, this could be people who are possessive of people, women, specifically, mostly because Venus rules women, sisters, um, even women as friends. And so these people could be um, very much in the field of prostitution for sure, woman or male. It really doesn't matter. If it was a woman, it'd probably be high end instead of the typical prostitution that we are used to seeing, like the ghetto hood type stuff, but high end. Um, meaning, they're going to be taken out or receive some expensive gifts or some kind of material possession that they get from it, whether it's a home, um, because Taurus does rule big ticketed items. So these are like boats, houses, a television, something that costs a lot of money, something that you invest in for a reason, a purpose, even art, something that can be passed down in a particular way for an investment. Um, yeah. So these people can also be sex addicts. Um, your beauty can cause others to be jealous of you or try to use you, possess you to get closer to you just so that they can have access to the things that you have or like eye candy. Um, these people struggle with self-worth. So you might have been bullied because of your beauty or intelligence or just being you. That kind of caused you to neglect your self-worth. And so you could struggle with like physical appearance. Um, that could lead to like extreme dieting. Um, or you might tend to get into relationships that block your blessings because you have money. And this could be, um, it could cause you to lose money depending on the relationships that you're in. Right? And so maybe as a child, for example, you had um, an inheritance, but it was taken from you by your family, or you're just used to being in situations where your money gets stolen, like particularly if you're in the stock market, but it really doesn't have to have anything to do with that. It could just be that you lose money for one reason or another, depending on the relationships you're in, whether they're balanced, equal, or reflect who you are. Um, you might date below your worth. You might have grown up being your mother's partner, making you provide for her, leading you to be generous, helpful, giving, and to your detriment and loss of worth. On the flip side of that, it's good that you were put through these things because now you have a skill where, you're very family oriented. Um, but I think the lesson here for Lilith and Taurus is not to give to your detriment or not to overextend yourself to the point where you lose your identity and you don't know who you are. You are not the person who does things for people just because. It's okay to do things for people, but at to what extent? What's the exchange? You should be getting something back, and whatever that means for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be you get money back, but maybe you get time, maybe you get love, maybe you get affection. Um, a pat on the back, a congratulations, whatever that is for you, you have to figure out what that is for you, but you should always get something in return. Um, Something that makes you feel good about yourself, about what it is you are giving away. Um, yeah. You might get a partner that's not good in bed, but they'll do stuff for you, or they're good in bed but don't cater to your emotions, or you just don't trust them, but you might ignore their red flags and put up with a lot. But your biggest fear is not having or getting the relationship that you want. So you have to learn not to overgive, not to overdo. Even if you can like do it all on your own, that's fine. That's great, but The purpose of a partnership is, again, there's got to be some equal give and take. And so it's finding the balance within the relationship, whose role is who, and that person has to do their role and you do yours. Um, um, yeah. I think that's probably the biggest lesson for Lilith and Taurus is really not to overgive. Be careful for greed. And it's really hard to say be careful for greed because it's like genuinely Taurus is not about, and if you from an economic perspective, if you think about Taurus from an economic perspective, it's about multiple streams of income. And so I don't want to say be careful of greed because I feel like that's a lack mindset and it's an ignorant understanding of what it means to be successful. And so it's more so like prepare for the things that you want as opposed to hoarding. So if you feel like you're somebody who's on a hoarding side, it's like, well, what do you need those things for? Um, what can be used later down the line? Is it really worth keeping these particular things? And once you start doing it to the point where you're like, you can look at something and say, there's no use for that 10, 15 years from now, throw it out. So it goes back to balancing out, understanding um, what overdoing something is. Venus really does want us to be balanced, and because Taurus is ruled by Venus, there has to be some sense of equilibrium in the choices that you're making. And instead of looking at greed as being greed, it's more like, okay, I need all these things, but they have to have a purpose and a value. So they have to be giving something back to you. It can't just be, I want a nice car, again, because you're trying to impress other people. Because you might not get the attention that you're exactly looking for, which can again lead to some loss later down the line, karmically. Because there's no real purpose, and that's an empty value. It's an empty belief. It's not profitable. And again, profit doesn't have to be about money. Again, it could be about a hug, affection, whatever, you know what your senses and desires are, making sure you're receiving those things, but they are genuinely from you and what you feel like you deserve for you, but not particularly to attract other people. Because you're going to get that anyway if you have nice things, but it's what they're thinking when they see that, and whether or not they're able to come in is going to rely on the fact on how you view the value of what it is they're attracted to you for. Does that make sense? It's important. I think that's the lesson here is to understand that something has to be given back for the things that you're getting. You have to have some kind of profit from that. But yeah, this is my interpretation of Lilith and Taurus. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't already. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.